So it's Front Row MMA, and we're joined by the current Cage Warriors middleweight champion, Jack the Joker Hermansson. And the first question I have to ask you, Jack, is because I'm a comic book geek, tell me the Joker has something to do with Batman.
Yeah, kind of. It was when I was in school. Some of my friends was calling me that because I had a smile that looked like the Joker in Batman. So yeah, the white smile. So that was the start of it, and then there was some other UK guys that called me that on the way in one of my fights. So yeah, so I figured out that if I was called several times, that could be my nickname.
No temptation ever to come down with the green hair, white face, and that's never going to happen.
I don't think so.
Look, for people who are only just becoming familiar with you, where did you get your start in MMA, and sort of where has your love for this sport come from?
Yeah, I started out as a wrestler when I was a kid, but I was always a big fan of other martial arts too, like traditionals, and yeah, I was a big Bruce Lee fan when I was a kid. So and yeah, my mother was only allowing me to do wrestling. So, but eventually I was been doing wrestling for some years, and yeah, I watched a few tapes on YouTube. A little bit of Bash Rutten and Wanderlei Silva, and I thought that yeah, it was a cool sport, and I wanted to give it a try.
You know, transitioning.
And
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt for a second.
yeah,
Transitioning from the wrestling to MMA, a lot of wrestlers that we speak to really like punching people. Is
yeah.
is that, you know, is there a joy in hitting someone in MMA that you can't quite find in wrestling?
Um, yeah, I think especially in the Greco-Roman wrestling where I'm from, it's a lot of rules. So when you yeah kind of take that limit off, it makes it a greater fun, of course. That you can use almost everything you have in your mind instead of keeping to yeah hundreds of rules.
You know, one of the things about your fighting style is that you can blend that wrestling in seamlessly. The Greco-Roman, the upper body wrestling against the cage, but you've also got a mean shot as well. Coupled that with your ground and pound, where did who do you thank most for that evolution? Where did that training from the wrestler to the MMA athlete come from, and who's responsible for the product that's in front of us?
Um, I think I've done a lot of study myself. Always been a big fan of George St. Pierre, and yeah, I've always been pretty deep in my thoughts in MMA, and yeah, always been looking into the details. So I was yeah, I was getting a hold of it pretty early, and understand how to think. And I kind of, yeah, of course, a lot of my coaches and training partners have helped me to develop the techniques. But putting them together, I think it's my mind where that yeah, developed.
How big is MMA in your neck of the woods? You know, a lot of Scandinavian fighters now are really starting to come through and make a name for themselves, both at European and global levels. Has MMA taken off, completely up there at the moment?
Yeah, it's getting a lot bigger. I think since I'm Swedish and have grown up in Sweden, I've always been watching the MMA scene there, and that is yeah, that it's a huge MMA scene in Sweden right now. A little bit yeah, maybe not so big here in Norway, but it's getting bigger, and the interest is there, and people are really watching MMA, and there are more and more gyms around the country now as well.
Is it a case that guys like Alexander Gustafsson and Alexander Coruscant and guys like that, have they kind of paved the way for some of the younger guys coming through? Do you think without sort of them competing at the highest level, it might not have taken off so quickly?
Yeah, definitely. I was, watching the first Swedes that got into UFC. They did okay, but not that well. And of course, people maybe were thinking, okay, it's possible to get here, but to stay there was another thing. And then Alexander showed that that was possible, and of course Akira Kosami too, and a couple other guys that's doing really well now. So I think, yeah, you can see the Scandinavian guys have believe in what we do now, and I really think it's possible to reach that far.
Well, we talked about the Scandinavian. Let's talk about Jack Hermansson. You're the reigning and defending Cage Warriors middleweight champion. Are you the sort of fighter? Are you of the view that you're a champion after you've defended that belt the first time, or the moment that you lifted that title, that's when you're a champion? What's your view on what a champion needs to do?
I think, especially in it's a little bit different, of course, in the UFC and where I'm at now in Cage Warriors. I had a few fights in Cage Warriors, but still, I think, to really earn that title, you have to at least have one defense. So, and I got that now. So hopefully a couple of more, and then I can claim the belt forever.
You train for a 5-round fight, and you go in, and again in that fight in Jordan, your wrestling dominated. You had heavy hands. Were you expecting that fight to in your head, was that only going to be a 1-round fight, or were you surprised at yourself and how quickly you got that finish?
Yeah, I was not very surprised, but I feel that my game is coming together now, and especially my focus. So I just yesterday looked at a couple of my older fights, and I really think I have a different focus when I step into the cage now. So that's definitely a big factor, and I think I'm getting more of my skills out there in my 2 latest fights. So I think you will see more of that now, and see a different person in there than before.
And Graham Boylan and Ian Dean probably won't thank me for this, but Cage Warriors, they're a springboard to the UFC for a lot of fighters at the moment. I think the UFC have 40+ fighters that have stepped into the Cage Warriors ring before. Is Cage Warriors a stepping stone for you, or I don't mean to disrespect Cage Warriors, but are you going to use that title to propel you to the global scene?
Of course, I think the best fighters in the world is in the UFC, and I want to fight the best fighters in the world. Of course, that's my final goal. But I'm probably in Cage Warriors. I think it's a great organization, the best I've been in this far. They treat the fighters really well, and they're a great organization. So I'm planning to do my best of it when I'm there, and really enjoying every fight and all the time I get into the organization.
Well, hoping that the UFC doesn't come knocking in the next couple of months for Cage Warriors fans. Last weekend, Jack Marshman and Che Mills faced off in arguably what was considered a #1 contenders match. Whether or not Jack's weight issue has an impact on that, we don't know. But for all intents and purposes, Jack Marshman is your #1 contender at the moment. Did you see that fight?
I saw it now when it got on YouTube. It was all right fight. Of course, I thought that before the fight, my thought was that Che Mills was going to win the fight, and it kind of looked like that too. especially in the when you saw the stand up and everything. I think Hermansson looked a little bit more crisp and getting the best of it. So yeah, but Markman is tough. He's a tough guy that always will try to get the win, and he won't give up. So yeah, if you don't put him out, he will come after you, and he did, and he won.
Watching that fight, knowing that one of those guys could have been or is a potential opponent, do you watch that fight more critically? Are you looking for patterns and holes in their game? And without giving anything away, did you see things that you think that I'm going to be able to exploit that?
Yeah, either who are the guys that either who of them I would have faced. I think that I have a little bit more skills in every area than those guys. But then again, like now, when it's probably going to be Jack Hermansson. He's tough guy, you know, and yes, decent boxing and is tough, obviously, and so I know that if he's hitting me on my chin, it might be over. So I'm considering him a dangerous opponent. But I still think my skills are better than his, and I'm not especially worried for that fight.
Yeah, I was certainly not asking you to sort of trash talk. I could see the wry smile on your face when I asked about, were there any weaknesses in his game I'm going to suggest you don't have to. I'm going to suggest you have seen something there that makes you go, this is a fight that's eminently winnable. I can still see by the Joker smile on your face now. We know he's durable. We know he's tough, but we also know that one of Jack's Achilles' heel is in the clinch and up close, and when someone's grinding. Surely that plays into your fighting style.
Yeah, of course. Most of the guys that have watched my fights know that I'm decent in the clinch. So probably he will try to avoid that part of my game. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting and see what he will have to what he will bring when we step in there. It's gonna be an interesting fight, and it's gonna be cool to see how he approaches it, and what his plan will be to try to get the win.
Are you hoping that this title defense happens before the end of the year? Are we hoping for a November, December kind of schedule? What would be perfect for you?
No, I can see that the talk has been started out there, and the fans want to see the fight, and Marshman has a lot of fans out there, so he will be having guys cheering for him. So and that fires me up and makes me motivated. So I'm ready to step in whenever. I could see November, December would be maybe the most perfect time for me to get in there.
Is it the hope that by then the Swedish MMAF will be sorted out? How important is it for you to be able to defend that title back, in Sweden? I know that you're from Oslo now, but at least getting a fight in sort of your neck of the woods. How important would that be for you?
Yeah, that would be awesome if they can do another try in Sweden and see if they can sort it out. It really would have been something to be fighting in your home country. Of course, it's that would be a dream. So make it happen.
and this fight. Let's say it goes. It's in November. You and Marshman go in, and your hand is raised again. It's almost. There doesn't seem to be more than a couple of names that would be floating around that title picture. Who impresses you as a middleweight? That's coming through the weight classes. Who do you look at and go, well, that's probably somebody I'm going to fight in a year's time. Is there any of the up and comers that have impressed you?
No.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I put you on the
it's not
spot
question,
there.
you
That's
know.
terrible.
I've been looking around a little bit and watching for some opponents, but yeah, it's not that many in Europe to that looks yeah very great. So I'm not sure. Actually, I think E and D maybe have a better better overview than I have.
Do you keep your eye
So
on
I
the
can't.
UK middleweight
Connect
scene?
on that.
Do you keep your eye on the UK middleweight scene? So, for example, like a Scott Askham, who was BAMA's champion, is going to be competing again in Stockholm. Do you keep an eye on sort of the guys rising up from the UK, or do you just focus on your own thing?
Yeah, I've been watching him actually, and yeah, I try to, you know, when it's yeah, like Bama or other Cage Warriors events, of course. I'm trying to be updated and have a look at the fighters, definitely. Um, so yeah, he's an interesting guy too.
There's a lot of people that say, you know, the top five in just about every weight class of a Cage Warriors division is UFC ready now. Is that your view of the competition that you've been facing and sort of your own ability? Do you feel that, you know, those top five in each weight class really are world class?
Yeah, I think there are loads of Cage Warriors fighters that are at the UFC level. So I can even see now that yeah, if you talk about the high UFC level and the middle and the low, so I would see that we are somewhere in the middle or something like that. Yeah, many of us at least. Yeah.
You know, we appreciate you giving up some of your Sunday morning to chat with us, and hopefully Ian Dean and Graham Boylan will get on it quick and get that announcement done for your title fight in late November, early December. You know, knowing that you're going to keep your eye on that prize and you're going to stay busy, is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to, or any sponsors you'd like to thank who have helped you in the past and will continue to support you in the future?
I have a couple, you know, tapoutstore.no and also undisputed.no and .se. They are my sponsors, and I'm very thankful to them and my gym, Frontline Academy, and all my training partners. And also thank you, Front Row MMA, for having me here and putting me in the spotlight. I appreciate it.
No, it's a pleasure. After watching your work, you know, it's a pleasure to finally get to know you a little bit. I got one more question that we may or may not cut off, but you know, Penny Kienzad, that Swedish firecracker, is fighting on November 15th against Agnieszka Nidwitz. It's a pretty tasty women's fight, but how do you see that going?
Yeah, Penny is a beast. You know, I don't think that she has gone. You know, she has only put a little bit of her potential out there yet. So I know that she's capable of greatness, and that we will see it very soon. So I cheer for Penny and wish her the best in this fight.
If you do happen to bump into Penny on your travels or, you know, anytime soon, just remind her she owes me my lollipop, please.
All right.
She bought me a lollipop in Jordan, and it hasn't come back yet. And that's terrible. You promised me an interview, we got one. She promised me a lollipop, nothing. It's terrible.
All right.
Jack, we really appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and we look forward to seeing you fight again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Talk to you soon again.
Anytime. Cheers, pal. Thank you.